Welcome to my channel. I'm Scott, and in this video I'm going to walk you through the process of valuing Cineplex's stock by analyzing their financial statements and dissecting their financial ratios so we can determine if it's a buy or a sell. Let's get started with the model. This is a small cap company, 464 million Canadian dollar market cap. They're trading at $7.29 a share, and they have 64 million Canadian shares outstanding. Cineplex is an operator of movie theaters. This is the largest cinema chain in Canada, accounting for 75% of the domestic box office sales. It was formed in 2003 with the acquisition of Canada's Lowe's Cineplex and its subsequent merger with 1X's Galaxy Entertainment. And they've done a bunch of acquisitions since then. They acquired Famous Players from National Amusements in 2005. Then they went public in 2011, acquired Empire Theatres. In 2019, they tried to acquire the British company Cineworld Group for $2.8 billion, but Cineworld opted out of the sale in June 2020. This company currently has over 150 theaters in Canada. Let's look at their financials. The way you value a company is you estimate the free cash flows into the future and then you discount those numbers back to today's value. That's what we're doing in this video. And free cash flow is cash flow from operations minus capital expenditures. 2020, a rough year for cinemas. Very low revenue. They had negative free cash flow. They bounced back in 2021 with a positive 28 million. It grew 50% to a positive 40 million in 2022, then grew about 250% to 146 million in 2023. So they rebounded nicely from the COVID crash. Their free cash flow per share is $2.29. The shares are currently trading at $7.29, and they have a free cash flow margin of 10%. So they converted 10% of their revenue into free cash flow. Net income is the profit or loss on the income statement. It's revenue minus expenses. That's negative every year except in 2023. Positive 138 million. Also a 10% margin. Revenue is the sales for the company, and that tripled from 400 million to 1.4 billion. Their revenue per share is 22, a lot higher than their share price, which means they have a price of sales well below 1. We estimated 4 years of future free cash flows. We also estimated the terminal value with all cash flows past year 4, that's 560 million. We discounted those numbers back to today using weighted average cost of capital. We get a value of the company of $515 million. We divide that by 64 million shares. And we get a calculated stock price of $8.09. They're trading at $7.29, so they're trading at a 10% discount. It is a buy according to the model. But look how high their WACC is, 16.8%. Let's just say their WACC was normal, like 10%. Then the valuation will be 15. That's how much of an influence the WACC has. The higher the WACC, the lower the valuation. There are 44 companies in the same industry as CGX, and if they have a number in red, they're worse than median. If they have a number in blue, they're better. Since all these tickers trade in the US, I converted these numbers to US dollars, so they're equivalent. But outside of this table, all the numbers are Canadian dollars. They don't spend too much in CapEx, only 47 million. We can't look at their debt to equity ratio since they have negative equity. They do generate positive free cash flow, a little higher than the median. They rank 30th in market cap out of all these companies. Netflix is the largest, 270 billion. I own Netflix and Disney. I'm up about 60-70% on each. We can't look at their price to book since they have negative equity. They're trading at 3.5 times earnings, 3.2 times free cash flow. So those are really appealing price multiples. They're trading at 0.3 times revenue, which means their revenue is 3 times their market cap. So it looks like they're priced to go bankrupt. When price multiples are this attractive, it's right before a company goes bankrupt. Let's take a look at their 2023 annual report. In their portfolio, they have 1,631 screens in 158 theaters. Here's a breakdown of the 158 locations. 67 in Ontario with 716 screens, 353 3D digital screens, the Super Advanced Ultra AVX 42 screens, 13 IMAX screens. They have 49 D-Box auditoriums. If you go to these theaters, the seats feel like rides, so you're part of the movie. 114 recliners and 13 others. They have 17 locations in Quebec, 25 in BC, 19 Alberta, 10 Nova Scotia, 6 in Saskatchewan, Manitoba 5, New Brunswick 5, Newfoundland 2, and Prince Edward Island 2. The number of theaters is pretty steady. It went down 1 from Q1 2022, but they did increase 1 from Q1 2023, currently at 158. For LBE, location-based entertainment, they have a few locations in Ontario, Alberta, Manitoba, Newfoundland, British Columbia, and Nova Scotia. They had $1.4 billion of revenue in 2023, up from $1.1 billion. $600 million is box office revenue. Those are ticket sales. Food service is big, $480 million. That's up a lot from last year of $380 million. Media, $119 million. $100 million for amusement, $91 million of other. You can see that total expenses, $1.4 billion, is a little higher than our revenue, which gives them an operating loss of $9.5 million, similar to last year. They spent $323 million on getting the rights to the films. Food costs, $114 million. Those are really good margins because food revenue is $480 million. Other costs is their biggest, $625 million. Let's see what that is. That's a lot of things. Half of it is employee wages, $300 million. Taxes, $72 million. Utilities, $33 million. And lots of different things, repairs and maintenance, advertising, insurance, etc. They have an income tax recovery of $147 million. So that gives them net income of $167 million. Compared to $100,000 from last year. Their shares outstanding are pretty much flat, 63.4 million in both years. Let's look at their balance sheet. Current assets, $260 million. Current liabilities, $480 million. So they have a really bad current ratio. They're going to need to take on a bunch of debt to get through the next 12 months. That's why the stock is getting so low. $37 million of cash. Receivables, $98 million. $18 million of inventory. This is probably the food. Total assets, $2.3 billion. Right of use assets is their biggest, $750 million. This is when a company leases an asset that's owned by another company. This is probably the theaters they lease. And they have a lot of goodwill, $620 million. They have $800 million of long-term debt. Here's a breakdown of the $800 million. $300 million of credit facilities. Convertible debentures, $270 million. This is unsecured debt issued by this company. $250 million of notes payable. They have nearly $1 billion of lease obligations. This is how much money they owe on the right of use assets. Assets minus liabilities equals equity. They have negative equity, negative $39 million. Let's look at the statement of cash flows. The first section is operating cash flow. They had almost $200 million of operating cash flow in 2023, a lot higher than last year of $80 million. In their investing section, they spent $50 million on PP&E, $55 million last year. In their financing section, they paid down $130 million of debt. They don't pay a dividend, so that's why you don't see a dividend here. And they're not buying back stock either. Let's look at a stock on Simply Wall Street. At last price, $729, 460 million market cap, down 1% in the past week, down 18.5% in the past year. Let's see what they say about the company. Cineplex operates as an entertainment and media company in Canada and around the world, although 99% of its sales are in Canada. It has 3 segments: film, entertainment, and content, media, and location-based entertainment. They operate theaters and sell food in those theaters. They also operate Cineplex.com, a website that offers streaming video, movie information, showtimes, and ability to buy tickets online, entertainment news, and box office reports, as well as advertising and digital commerce solutions. They also have Cineplex mobile app and Cineplex store, which provides transactional video on demand, including home premiere services, such as premium video on demand and premium electronics sell-through services. It sells advertising in theaters and offers digital signage solutions and in-store retail media networks for various brands in shopping centers, restaurants, and entertainment destinations. They also operate location-based entertainment establishments, including the Rec Room, a social entertainment destination for millennials that offers a range of entertainment options, such as simulation, redemption, video, recreational gaming, attractions, and live entertainment venue for watching entertainment programming. Palladium, a complex designed for teens and families, and Cineplex Junction, an entertainment concept for movies, amusement gaming, dining, and live performances, as well as in-theater gaming centers. Additionally, it offers Scene Plus, a customer loyalty program designed to offer members discounts and the opportunity to earn and redeem points. They were founded in 1912, headquartered in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So it looks like it IPO'd in 2007 at 17. Then it had a nice growth over the next decade to over 50. That was in 2017. And then from 2017 to 2020, it just kept coming down to $5. And its low was at the end of 2020. It did come up to 16 in the middle of 2021, but it's down about 50% since then. Simply Wall Street's valuation is $9. They say it's 21% undervalued. 6 analysts priced this stock at 13. It looks like their revenue is forecasted to grow. $1.4 billion in 24, $1.5 billion in 25, $1.54 billion in 26. And their free cash flow looks a bit volatile, but it is projected to be positive over the next few years. Their debt just keeps growing. It was $148 million in 2013. Now it's over $800 million. And their equity keeps going down. They now have negative equity, which means their liabilities are higher than their assets. And this green line is their cash. They keep very little cash on their balance sheet. They were paying a dividend for many years, and it was a good dividend at that. It peaked at over 11% in 2020 when the stock came down, but they eliminated the dividend. They currently do not pay a dividend. The CEO's salary is $1 million. Total compensation $2.5 million. His tenure as CEO is over 20 years. There's been some insider buying in the past year, no insider selling. 80% is owned by the general public and 19% by institutions. The biggest shareholder is Operadora, the Mexican company. They own over 9%. Then Sandgrove's 2.7%. Sandgrove is a British investment firm. Then the Canadian bank CIBC, BlackRock, the CEO, and a bunch of other weird names. Their employee count is up and down. It was 10,000 in 2013. It's still at 10,000 currently. And the ticker trades on the TSX, Deutsche Börse, and Mexican Bolsa. So let me know what you think. Give the video a like, subscribe, or comment below. If you'd like to get a custom valuation or just support the channel, you can become a member by clicking on the link in the description below. Thanks for watching.